What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Hope you guys are all still living off that nice 1-0 start. New York Giants got a game coming up on Sunday where we try to get to 2-0 against the Carolina Panthers. I'll have my preview video out on that hopefully tomorrow. I was going to try to do it today, but with the new job, I was kind of running late. So I'll probably do the preview tomorrow and then probably do my weekly picks on Saturday. One idea I had for the weekly picks, if you're watching this video, is having a subscriber come on the channel weekly. If you are interested, drop it in the comments below. And if you beat me, you'll get some kind of giveaway, whether it be a fitted hat, something along that nature. We do it, a one-on-one weekly, and I verse a new subscriber each week. If you think that is a good idea, guys, and you'd like to come on and do an episode with me, please let me know in the comments below. But in this video, we're going to talk about the news of the day for the New York Giants, and we got some injury news, right, regarding Kadarius Toney. Also, some good news, or potentially good news, involving Kayvon Thibodeaux. We'll start with Toney before we get into the status or the surprise status of what came out today. Last week, of course, it was a huge question mark the entire game as to why Kadarius Toney was used so infrequently. He only had 7 offensive snaps, and then after the game, Brian Daboll was asked, was he hurt? In which Brian Daboll said, no, he was completely healthy. And then he asked him something along the lines, was he completely comfortable with the playbook? And he gave the same exact answer. Everything was all good, right? And we take Brian Daboll at his word. Of course, Brian Daboll also said that he didn't yell at Daniel Jones. And I believe that there was video clips in which he had the headset off. So it's coaches speak. Not that I'm saying that he's a bad guy or that, I think he's wrong for lying. At the end of the day, if he is lying, he's trying to protect his players. That's what a good head coach does. But that being said, with what came out today, you have to at least question, well, maybe that was the reason why Toney wasn't, playing too much week number 1. Of course, he was banged up throughout training camp, throughout the preseason, did have a bit of a hamstring issue, and that came out today. We'll dive into it in this video. In addition to that, we'll talk about the good news coming out about Kayvon Thibodeaux. First thing we're going to start with is this coming out from Jordan Renan regarding Toney. Kadarius Toney, hamstring, was added to the injury report as a limited participant in Thursday's practice. He dealt with a hamstring injury late this summer. And then there were people over Twitter showing video clips of him during the game on the sideline being stretched out, working out the hamstring. This is no surprise. To be honest with you, this was my first line of thinking week 1 as to why he only played 7 offensive snaps when I heard about it after the game. And then Daboll said that that wasn't the case, so I took him at his word. But my guess would be this was probably the reason going into the game that they had a limited game plan for Kadarius Toney, that he was not fully recovered from that injury. Of course, did not have a ton of experience from within the system, being that he missed a lot of, he didn't play in any of the preseason games, probably missed a lot of practice due to it. And they're probably getting him off to a slow start. So in a way, I almost look at this as good news that Kadarius Toney, for everybody that's saying that he was in the doghouse, and that, Richie James may not, may continue to see a lot more playing time over him, even over a completely healthy Kadarius Toney. I don't really see that to be the case. But what I will say is probably don't expect to see a ton of Kadarius Toney this week. And you have to think that the New York Giants are going to be cautious there. Hopefully he's out on the football field. And it's kind of disappointing because going into this game, if I'm being honest with you, I thought it was a game that Kadarius Toney could explode onto the scene, being that you have to think, and we'll talk more about this in the video tomorrow, but you have to think the Carolina Panthers are going to do everything in their power to stop Saquon Barkley coming off the ridiculous performance he had week 1. The Giants as a team rushed for 238 yards on the ground, the most yards rushing that a team has had against the Titans since November 26th, 2018. Barkley, of course, had 165 yards or so of that 238. So you have to think that the Carolina Panthers are going to put an extra man in the box, which should open up passing lanes for Daniel Jones. And obviously the receiver you think of first is Toney. He's a quick separator. He's a guy that could definitely take the top off a defense, and he's probably our best, playmaker in the passing game. So if he is forced to miss this game, or if he's going to be on a limited snap count like he was week 1, well, that's going to be unfortunate. But if you want to look at it from a positive standpoint, it means that he probably was not in the doghouse last week. It probably means that the New York Giants are being cautious. Maybe the hamstring bothered him a bit during the game, and that's why he's on the injury report this week. Who knows? But expect if Toney does play, probably not to get a full allotment of touches. Expect to see Richie James out there this week. And this is a pattern. I'm not, by no means am I coming down on Kadarius Toney. I hope he's the next greatest wide receiver of all time. And I definitely think he's supremely talented. But you're lying to yourself right now if you're a New York Giant fan and you're not at least slightly concerned of the injury history of Kadarius Toney, not just in the NFL, but at the collegiate ranks. He missed time 3 years during his collegiate career. He's now missed time in his first 2 years while in the NFL. Not that he missed time in the first regular season game, but he was limited, and we have to think that there's at least a distinct possibility he could be limited in this game as well. And I recognize it's a physical sport. By no means am I calling Kadarius Toney soft. I think Kadarius Toney and all these guys are much tougher than I can ever be. Okay, so I don't want anybody to get that thought inside their head. But at the end of the day, the best ability is availability in the NFL. And up to this point, Kadarius Toney has been limited on the football field. Hopefully he could turn that around over the course of his career with the New York Giants, because I think that's what all Giants fans want. They see a young wide receiver with a ton of potential, and they want him to go out there and produce. Hopefully we see it sooner than later in this offense this year with Kadarius Toney. But let's jump into the good news of the day involving Kayvon Thibodeaux, the rookie number 5 overall pick, who, of course, missed week 1, sustained the injury from within preseason. Giants' first-round pick, Kayvon Thibodeaux, is really confident in making his NFL debut start Sunday versus the Panthers via Jordan Renan. That came out from Adam Schefter, obviously a very credible source. And Jordan Renan, of course, as well, works for ESPN specifically for the New York Giants. So we'll see if he does actually suit up. But if he does suit up, you have to figure Kayvon Thibodeaux could have a major say in terms of who wins this game. The Carolina Panthers don't have the best offensive line to begin with, and if Thibodeaux's completely healthy, you figure it could be a great opportunity for him to make an impact for this Giants defense, especially against a quarterback that is not the most mobile guy in terms of Baker Mayfield. So if Thibodeaux plays, I'm sure Giants Nation will be ultra excited. I know I will. I was one of the first guys online to buy his jersey the second we drafted him. So I can't wait to see him out there for this New York Giants defense in wing scheme. All that being said, as excited as I am to see him out there as quickly as possible, I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to say this. If he is not 1,000% healthy, I don't want to see him out on the football field week 2. I can wait another week. If we lose the game because Jihad Ward plays, I'll live with it. I don't want to risk further damaging Kayvon Thibodeaux if he is not completely healthy. But I have to think, and I have to imagine, with as important of a piece as he is for the long-term future of this football team, the New York Giants aren't going to rush him out there unless they know for a fact he's completely healthy. But it at least sounds like it's a stronger possibility than many thought maybe at the beginning of the week. And hopefully we see him out there week 2 against the Carolina Panthers. Azeez Ojulari sounds the complete opposite. You started to hear rumors throughout the week that Azeez Ojulari may be getting backed up and Kayvon Thibodeaux may be playing. And now it's starting to look that way, that we may actually see Kayvon Thibodeaux make his debut start week number 2. If he doesn't play against the Panthers, you have to figure with 8 days to prepare after that, if he's at least close this week, which it seems he's at least close, he will be playing against the Dallas Cowboys. But if we see Thibodeaux, I'll be really excited. I know you guys will be as well. We could certainly use a premier pass rusher. As good as the Giants defense looked with a lot of the guys we had out last week, we only had 1 sack. That was Timon Fox, and it wasn't even really a sack. It was more like a quarterback scrambling to get back to the line of scrimmage. We didn't get a ton of pressure. We sent a lot of blitzes. We blitzed 48% of the time, but we didn't get home enough. With Thibodeaux out there, it could completely change this defense. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.